Hello, everyone, and welcome to the YouTube channel of Get Set Law by IMIS. I'm your verbal ability mentor, Sanjana ma'am, and let's decode another editorial today. Okay, so as is generally the case, these are the important things we're going to learn from today's passage, the important ideas and some vocab words if we have them. And if we have to skim through the passage, although I can say for sure that the passage that we have today is something which there is no need to skim. Okay, now right off the bat, this is the passage here. And the title, it says, Who Loses When Teachers Are Attacked? So we can get an understanding that the author here is focusing more on the attacks that are being led against teachers. Now, what those attacks are and the very details of it, the very elaboration on it, is something which the title is not going to tell us. So we'll really have to focus on what is given in the contents of the passage. Now, the first part here, I'm sure the author here is talking about the different attacks. So there was a student union leader accompanied by a group of supporters. He slapped, so it's an assault on a teacher. He slapped a teacher in the presence of the police, fellow teachers, and students. Again, multiple such cases have been on the front these days. So it's a competition of sorts to gain cheap publicity. So the author here, in wanting to write this particular passage, has a different message, right? And the message, in fact, is that it reflects on what such incidents do to the pure process of teacher learning. Okay, teacher learning, right? And most importantly, to the students who come to these institutions to study and to make a career, right? Who remain silent, thinking it is not their concern, right? So silence amongst the students and thinking, and the fact that they think that it has nothing to do with them. Okay. Again, let's read further. So again, you see that these are some of the points that I am not reading because I intend more so to understand the main idea here in the passage. But if you want, you can read these couple of lines as well. Okay. Now, implication of the attack, the very consequences of it. So those in the profession know that teaching, it is not a mechanical process that one can switch on at will. It is a human exchange. It's an interaction between people, right? More than the content, the quality of a lecture depends on the teacher's enthusiasm and, energy and initiative, right? But when a teacher is attacked, the teacher may continue to take classes, but that conduction will then be losing the required warmth and creativity and inventiveness and emotional investment that generally comes at the end of the teacher. Okay. And then the act of teaching will seem simply very robotic or mechanic in nature, right? Just something which is performed as part of the job. The second consequence is the fairness of student evaluation. Okay, now this is really important, which is one of the most crucial aspects of learning, right? So, judiciary cannot deliver justice under threat. So, this is an argument using analogy, and this is a very good way of sort of, arguing for a certain thing. If you are also preparing for NLSAT, you can utilize such a technique to, perform well on the essay section, right? Use arguments by analogies. Give a similar example to establish a certain point. So just as a judiciary cannot deliver justice under threat, teachers also cannot fairly evaluate a student's performance when threatened, right? Especially when they fear public humiliation. To avoid confrontation, many begin grading the student leniently. Many begin throwing a lot of marks, right? Blurring the line between effort and indifference, merit and mediocrity. Beautifully written sentences, right? And this is not something which is an isolated case. This trend is not very new. It's an old trend, right? And then the author also sort of puts forward some stats to argue and to bolster his point here, right? So internal assessment allows students to see their marked scripts, often leading to unnecessary comparisons and demands for justification. So to avoid the frequent confrontations and dispute over marks, many teachers begin awarding higher grades. That has happened, and you might already know of such issues already if you're studying right now in schools or in colleges also. The outcome was clear. Average scores rose across undergraduate courses. So when the marks lose credibility, right, and objectivity, employers lose faith in degrees and students lose faith in the very value of learning, right? Again, this is such a potent point, right? It's a very profound message. And the third implication is the safety of the students. Teachers are often the first people students turn to when something goes wrong. right? But the moment teachers themselves feel hurt and threatened, right, they naturally hesitate to get involved and start referring every issue to the police. And the police administration, the way they operate, we are well aware of that, which just tells us that things might go in vain. So, the exposure of young students to such an unjust system at an early age can also have lasting consequences. And then the fourth point that the author tries to make, in the sense that it can have so many implications, is that history offers grim lessons, which is seen in the exodus of students that follow when campuses turn violent, which means when there is a lot of violence going on a college campus, students are very likely to withdraw from the course or the institution also, right? It can take decades or become impossible to undo the damage. Now, the author gives the example of the universities in West Bengal, Bihar, Eastern Uttar Pradesh, and until recently in Kerala also, right? Where once they were India's reputed centers of learning. Today, students from these regions migrate elsewhere because of violent politicization of campuses. The next point that the author discusses here is who is to blame here? Is it the teachers? So obviously it's not the teachers, but the author here says that we overlook a larger truth. Corruption has corroded almost every institution in the country. The bureaucracy, the police, the judiciary, politics, media, right? So everywhere officials seize opportunity to extract money, right? And public education institutions have largely held their moral ground. Had the teaching community at DU been similarly corrupt, it could have monetized admissions or internal assessment marks. Yet not a single incident supports such a charge. So despite holding immense power over students' futures, teachers have largely continued to uphold integrity and moral responsibility, right? So it isn't the teachers here who are at fault. It's essentially the very nature of corruption, which, the different offices in the country, the different people in the country have come to internalize, right? Now, who bears the brunt of the problem most? So, once a culture of violence takes root and teachers are forced to kneel, it's not the teachers. They learn to adapt somehow and survive because ultimately they have to perform a job, albeit it becomes a mechanical one when they feel threatened, right? The real victims are the students and the parents who will pay the ultimate price, right? Through poor quality of education, unsafe campuses, and the need to migrate elsewhere, right? Uh, so when we read further towards the end, even alumni who remain indifferent to what happens in the ILMA meter must realize that when a reputed institution loses its standing, the respect and credibility they command for having studied there also fade. Now, this is also a very relatable sentence. So, say what the author is trying to say here is you take a lot of pride in coming from a very good institution, an institution which is very esteemed and prestigious in the country, right? And then because of a certain administrative issue, the institution's reputation is tarnished, and then all of a sudden the respect that even you command in the market for having studied in such a good college, that also begins to fade. So all of this is nothing but the cascading effect of the assault and the violence which is led against teachers, which is becoming a very common issue these days. And then again, it has so many consequences, which is primarily what the author here has discussed. So a very informative passage, right? I really like it. Hope you liked it as well, and also quite easy to read and retain. So that's it for today's editorial decoding. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.